Coming up on this episode of Courage Over Comfort with your hosts, Matt Logan and Beth Blanchard.
What would you do if everything went right? I mean, like,
it'd be boring, right?
You wouldn't ever have to try
They make
anything
movies out
new.
of that stuff, right? Like,
it's not reality, and I think that those are the things that eventually make you who you are. And if you know in your gut that you're doing the right thing, it might not seem right to everyone else or feel right at the moment, but you do know, I think. So
yeah.
I was totally like that too. I thought it was like all or nothing. And then if one little thing went wrong in my life, the world was ending. And now I have a whole different mindset on that because lots of things have gone wrong. And that's okay. That's life.
Here it is.
I can't wait to talk with this person.
Yeah, isn't it great? She's like a producer.
Yeah.
She's an actor. A journalist right here locally.
So many layers.
Talented, right? Yeah, like it's confusing to me.
Right, but in all the places that she is, like all of them take very different levels of courage, in my opinion. So
For sure.
I can't wait to hear what she has to say about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just get to it. Oh, by the way, she's a self-proclaimed crazy cat lady.
Uh-oh.
Watch for the cat ears.
All right. I'll keep my eye out.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Let's welcome
Raquel Hellman. Hey, thanks for being here.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Yes. Trips.
Yeah,
we were talking about trips off camera.
So many trips, yes. What was your favorite trip, like, as a child?
As a child, we used to go out to Mount Rushmore when I was a kid. It was kind of like a yearly family vacation thing. And at the time, it was very boring to be, you know, a kid doing all the sightseeing, Mount Rushmore and everything. But my grandpa actually used to be a park ranger at Mount Rushmore, and my dad grew up, spent part of his childhood behind the heads, essentially. That sounds really weird.
What does it look like?
That was a little awkward.
He's like the Oz?
Right.
So we would go out there, and looking back, I think those were some really good family trips. At the time, they might not be the most exciting thing when you're 10, 11, 12, but it was good bonding time with my cousins. We used to play pranks on my grandma. There was
what kind of pranks?
Oh, well, one time my I was not involved in this, but my brother, so I say, my brother and my cousins, we went to like a buffet, and they smuggled some like crawfish back to the hotel we were staying, and they put them in the toilet in the in the bathroom that me and my other two cousins were staying in. And of course, we freaked out, and my grandma had to get involved, and it was things like that. It was fun.
That's hilarious. What
fun.
did they smuggle them out of the restaurant in?
I don't know for sure. They were up to no good.
I mean, do you put crawfish just like...
They found a way, and that was, before the days of cell phones, so we had to find other ways to stay entertained, and we certainly did.
That is one way to do it, for sure. So who got him out of the toilet?
I don't even remember. There was screaming and
There's
chaos
a handle
and
for that.
running, and I mean, I don't know that. And they were all over the bathroom. I do remember that. I don't remember the details of how that ended, but it was. It's funny now.
Yeah,
it was funny then seeing my grandma just freak out. So
that's like the fun part about family trips that I like. Like, to your point, you're like, this is boring. This is the same thing all the time. But you clearly remember all of the fun parts of that trip.
Absolutely. And those are the good memories when you look back. And those are some of my favorite, I think.
For sure. I don't always remember like all of the details either, but we went to California, which is a cool place. Don't get me wrong. But we thought we were like winning the jackpot when we got this like super nice beachfront area. We're going to like bask in the sun all day. My brother spent all day collecting seashells. And, we're from Minnesota. We don't know anything about ocean current.
Oh, no.
So our amazing spot that he held, this entire pile of seashells he collected all day, disappeared within seconds when high tide came in. And then we realized why we were the only ones up there. But that was one of the funniest parts of that trip. And I don't remember like the rest of, what we were doing, but it was so funny just to laugh about it after being angry, of course, that he lost all his seashells. But those family bonding moments, I think, are huge.
They are, for sure.
So who's in your family?
So my mom, I'm very close with my mom, Jules.
Hi, Jules.
Fantastic names in this family
It's
so far.
Julie, and then everyone just called her Jules her whole life. So eventually, she actually just changed it to that. So
Wow.
she's Jules.
That's cool.
And then my brother Chad, he is 3 years younger than me. And
he
my
likes
dad
crawfish.
passed away. He likes crawfish. My dad passed away when I was 17. He was
Oh, wow.
43. But his parents, I'm very, very close with. So my grandparents, Sharon and Walt. My mom's parents, I actually have all 4 grandparents living, which is kind of crazy,
Wow.
being the old age of 32. Getting up there. And so Bunny and Gary are her parents, and I have a whole host of aunts and uncles, cousins, and both sides of my family are fairly close. So I've been lucky
That's great.
with that. Mm-hmm.
Do they live close then too?
Most
or?
live in Minnesota,
Yeah.
from the Twin Cities area.
Yeah.
So my mom is in Burnsville. A bunch of my family's in Bloomington. Other surrounding suburbs. My brother is in Red Wing.
Nice.
But mostly, yeah.
So you can at least get together for
And
holidays.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I get up there quite a bit, more than I probably should for my sanity. But I like going up there once
Yeah.
every other week or so, sometimes once a week.
Do you miss the big city?
So when I moved from the cities, I went to St. Cloud State. So, still a decent size. And it was very, it was when you're in college, I
It's
think the
very
world's a little
college town.
different. Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Then I moved to Albert Lee, which was very small.
Yeah.
And it took me a little getting used to, but I didn't hate it by any means. So now that I've moved to Rochester, I think Rochester is the perfect size city for me. It's not the cities, but it's not Albert Lee. And I love Albert Lee. I don't want to get that wrong.
Don't
It
come
will always
knocking on my
have a place in my
door.
heart.
Right,
Albert Lee will
right.
always have a place in my heart, but I do really love Rochester and the surrounding area too.
Yeah.
It's a totally different culture, though,
Yeah.
too. Like, I'm from Apple Valley, and moving down this way was a huge adjustment.
So I'm from Burnsville, so right
Yes.
by Apple Valley. So,
Right? Like 5 minutes to Target. Here it's like 20, and I'm like, dang, I really have to think about what I'm going to do when I get there.
Right.
You know?
It's a whole different mindset. And
Yeah, totally.
it's just, I needed my high-end makeup and I couldn't just go get it. I had to plan that
Right.
to like go to the cities and do that. So
Yeah.
Rochester's
Sounds
a good-
terrible.
It's really tough being a girl.
Right?
I know it is.
It is.
You really, I mean,
guys
you can't
put
just
in a
run
lot of
out of
work.
something. There
No,
needs to
I
be
know.
a plan.
And you have to like look at it and see, okay, how many days until this is you gotta
Right.
have your stuff.
Have you ever
Yeah.
cut off the top of your container so you can like
This
get
morning
in?
I did.
Did you?
This
You
morning.
know what I'm talking about?
I
You
do
ever
know what
done
you're
that?
talking
Okay.
about, and I think look at the time. I gotta go.
Best kept secret if you've never
I'm
done
kidding.
that.
Keep talking.
That is the way to maximize all of your product.
Yes, because
But-
there is a ton you will not be able to get out, and that is a waste of makeup and a waste of money.
Right?
Is it a plan?
A plan as far
Like
as
from the manufacturers?
I mean, yeah, I think so. Because if you're not going to go through that extra effort, then you're going to go buy a new one before
Yeah.
you have to. But you just got to know what to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Now I know.
This
Now,
this
in
is
case you've
how
ever
Yeah.
wanted to know.
shoestring budget, high end products. I mean, you need a plan.
You do.
For sure.
Absolutely, you do.
And now a quick word from our sponsors.
KFG Coaching is sponsoring this episode of the podcast.
Sponsoring the podcast and really people's lives. That's what she does.
Absolutely. She is a mindset coach.
Yes.
Krista is her name. And incredible person.
Totally amazing
Yeah,
person.
I've been able to chat with her several times, and I love that she is able to bridge the gap, right? When you go into a business, employees don't really want to talk to HR about certain things because that's within the organization.
Right.
And she bridges that gap really
Yeah.
well, like extremely well, between the employees and like in HR departments.
Yes, absolutely.
And just brings out what some of the issues might be or whatever else. It's one of the talents that she
Like a
has.
communication wizard.
Yes.
That's totally what it is. And bridging the gap is like putting it lightly, but helping to get people on the same page, feel comfortable talking to her and relaying that information to the other side with intentionality and,
Yeah.
really good communication. I think it's a win-win for everyone. And
In a
great
respectful
resource.
way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And it's not like you did this wrong or you did that wrong or whatever else. It's actually just finding good solutions.
Right.
Yeah.
From a business perspective, it's a win-win situation.
Yeah.
Your employees are more productive. Your business is more productive when you get some of that out of the way. That's exactly what she does. Makes all that smooth over, gets
Yep.
people back on track.
Exactly.
It's perfect.
And what's great too, because she's like a business coach, She also is a certified trainer. Like
Yeah.
this is what she does. And she has a lot of, what I really love about it, she has a lot of personal experience that she brings to the table, right? She's not just one of those people that runs her business from the outside and just says, this is how you do it.
Do as
like
I
she
say.
has exactly she has that experience, that personal experience to really make that happen and work and bridge those gaps that we talked about. But she also does personal coaching, like people all over the world.
And it's the experience and the trust that you can get with her. Not just get, but you feel right away. And I think that's the impact and the change that opens the doors for businesses to be more successful and people to be more successful because they have someone to guide them.
Absolutely.
For sure.
We need to look her up. I want to look her up.
You've got to go, internet, wherever you are. Hit up kfgcoaching.com. She has got all of the information that you need to get to where you need to go and get connected with her from a business or personal standpoint. Either way, it's a good investment.
Yeah. I'm thinking I might, like literally, I might contact her.
Right.
Yeah.
Get over there,
It's brilliant.
kfgcoaching.com. That's all you need to do. She'll take care of the rest.
Thank you, KFG Coaching.
Yes, we thank you, appreciate you, and wish you the best of luck with all of our listeners here.
Absolutely. Maple Springs Campground is sponsoring the show.
Yes. Why would you not want to get out and relax while you listen to our podcast?
Absolutely. I mean, they've got
Perfect
free
place.
Wi-Fi.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Right? So kick back. You can go horseback riding.
Absolutely. They've got like a whole area for horse people.
I'm not a horse person, but I'm just intrigued by the fact that they have this.
Yeah, exactly. Like literally, there's a spot you can keep your horses and tie them up and all that kind of stuff for them. So it's great.
That just blows my mind. But I'd probably be the one fishing. That
Trout
would be my
fishing,
thing.
that area is known for it. I mean, and there's that whole area. What is trout fishing open in May, right?
Right.
So it's coming up.
So like right after ice fishing.
Yeah.
Basically.
True.
We're hoping it's going to be warm enough by then, but I'm already planning my summer vacations. So
Yeah, bring
this
the
is
family
definitely on
down
the
there.
bucket list.
Yeah, I've been down there many times. They have church services on Sundays.
Yes. That's so awesome.
Yeah, so that's from Memorial Day to Labor Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Small window.
Free
but
showers, free
lots
Wi-Fi.
of things. Yeah.
What more do you need?
You really don't
Listen
need
to the
any
podcast
more.
while you're in the shower.
Yes, I love it. Maple Springs at campground.com. You can go figure out your reservations, get it booked now. That's what I'm going to be doing so I can go enjoy
Did you
some
forget
vacation.
the www?
Oh, we're never going to live this down. But for those of you who need that as well, it is www.maplespringscampground.com, just in case there's any questions.
I had to throw it out there. Hey, thanks, Maple Springs Campground.
We thank you.
And now, back to the episode.
So did you go to school in St. Cloud for what you're doing now?
I did. St. Cloud State has a very good TV program. We were doing, at the time, 2 live broadcasts every day, and not just to the college station, but to the whole St. Cloud community. So you get that live experience immediately, and you're reporting, producing, anchoring. I served as news director of my college TV station for my last 2 years there. Depends on what.
Like let the credits roll, and it's like all her name.
It was a good. I loved St. Cloud. Really good experience. Just nothing bad to say there at all.
Yeah. Nice.
Great.
And you went to college with other journalists that you still hang out with?
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Talk to
My best
build
friend
a
is my roommate
community.
too. She worked at my station.
It starts with a K.
It starts with a K.
You Google the rest.
Narrow it right down.
Google the rest.
Habits.
We met in college, and we both ended up working at the station that I work at. She does not work there any longer, but it's a tight-knit group of people, and you kind of go through some weird transitions together because it is a weird industry to work in at times. So having that support system is really important. And we're still close friends with a lot of people we went to college with. Some have worked at competing stations, which is always interesting.
Do you guys talk about ratings like over drinks?
No. We talk about some things, though, I think, and it's interesting. But there's that line, too, that you have to be careful with, because they still are your competition. And just figuring out how to be friends with someone where you still have to have that line. I didn't have too much of that because most of my closest friends worked at my station. But I know other people that have had to kind of walk that line a little bit.
Sure.
That's, I suppose.
Dicey place.
Yeah.
So journalist, actor, producer, self-proclaimed crazy cat lady.
Yes.
Yes.
I love all animals.
Yeah.
All animals. I mean, anything. I have rescued everything from a skunk to a raccoon to
my
a goose
gosh.
to a couple crows. But I love cats. Love them.
We
All
could
I can picture is like Ace Ventura right now. Pet detective, you know, when he's like, oh, and
Yeah.
all the animals come flying out and little penguin comes waddling down. That's got to be your apartment,
Animals
right?
in need find me. It was funny. So when I was moving to Rochester, my roommate already lived in the place where we live now, and she knows more than anyone how much of a crazy animal person I am. So she's gone for the weekend while I'm moving in, and I was directed to an injured crow.
You were directed to.
They find me. So I go and I chase this poor crow down. I get him in my car. I have this crow. Actually, it was a she. I learned that later. I had her and then my cats all in a car traveling from Albertville
What?
to
Got along?
Rochester.
Like, I feel like the cat and the crow thing is like a dicey place.
The cats were in kennels.
Oh.
So, but I was just driving down the interstate like, this is as crazy as it gets. So we all get settled, and I'm like, what am I going to do with this crow in my new apartment? The cats are getting situated. They're already confused. So I put the crow in.
Confused, that's a really good way to
They
put
were
it.
very confused. I put
gonna
the
need
crow in my
therapy.
roommate's bathroom. She wasn't home at the time, and I just texted her. I'm like, hey, don't worry, there's a crow in your bathroom. And she's like, you just moved in, and you're bringing a crow. And so the crow stayed the night in her bathroom. And
Oh
then
my
I
goodness.
transported her up to the Minnesota Wildlife Rehabilitation Center, where
That's responsible, though.
she was. Yeah. Her name. I named her Cheryl. They asked me if I wanted to name her.
Wow.
So do you get like report cards or
They do
postcards
send
from?
updates on the
Really?
animals that you bring there. It's really cool. It's a great place, and I'm a
awesome.
frequent flyer there because I find all the injured
No pun
animals.
intended.
No,
hilarious.
but ducks, birds, everything. So, but yes, crazy cat lady. I will embrace that title.
Nice. Well, it's self-proclaimed.
It is
so you
self-proclaimed.
can't- Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's
I
good.
Won't fight it.
Don't they
Yeah.
say that about bullying? Like if you say it about yourself, it's not bullying anymore.
Probably.
Right?
Probably.
That's what they tell you. The advice.
sounds
They're
right.
like, you know,
Yeah.
just call yourself whatever, and then they
Yes.
can't make fun of you for it.
Yeah,
That's true.
that is true.
I mean, logically it makes sense, but I feel like there's still like an awkward way about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll take that title. That's fine. I like
It
it.
works.
We talked about cat ears. Did you bring them?
I did. Do you wanna
I
wear
told you
them?
I told you I'd wear them for a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do
Can
this.
I get up to get
Right?
them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Go right ahead. Yeah.
Oh.
So part of the deal was that she said, well, the station won't let me wear my cat ears.
No, of course
And I
they're
said,
not going to let me wear my
why
cat.
not?
Right? And so I said, well, I tell you what, if you bring them, I'll wear them too. So,
Oh my gosh, I can't find them.
uh-oh.
I think I forgot.
He probably
them.
already took them.
You probably did.
No, I actually didn't.
What did I do with them? They were in here, I
Oh,
promise.
man.
I didn't do this on purpose. I didn't do it on purpose. Wait, what did I do with my cat ears? That's very
I
sad.
don't know. Oh,
That's very
no.
sad.
That is
Sorry.
very sad.
I'll have to
was
make that up to
looking-
you.
I was looking
right.
forward to that.
They're sparkly cat ears. I don't.
Snapchat filter.
I did bring them. I don't know where they are. They probably fell out of my car. So
Darn
okay.
it.
The
You'll
only
have to wear
pair.
sparkly cat ears another time.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. Yes.
I mean, there's plenty of opportunities for that.
So at what point do you decide to become a
And
journalist?
see, look at Beth. She just moves
She's
on.
moving right along.
Yep.
I can't get on with
This
the
is
cat
like,
thing. I don't
yeah,
know how to
just
do
go.
it. But I want to know, like, people like are like, I want to go put myself in front of everyone. Like most people don't say that.
Yeah.
Like where does that come? Were you interested in the like, I'm going to write these impactful, powerful stories about the news, or I want to be on camera? That sounds cool.
So a little of both. I was
Fair.
I've always liked theater. I've always done theater. I've always been comfortable in front of a crowd. But that's not fully the case. Comfortable in front of a crowd in certain ways.
Sure.
So I did theater. I always liked writing. I was always told I was good at both those things. I'm naturally very curious, sometimes too curious. Like back in my like dating days of college and everything, I think sometimes I scared people away because I would interrogate people on a date. I would just interview them, and it wasn't intentional. It was just
Yeah.
how I talked to people.
Conversational.
Yeah.
And so I think just all those things kind of came together, and I thought this would be a great way to use all those skills, and it has turned into that. So
Cool.
I love the theater aspect about it. What do you think makes it different for you, like in a theater audience versus like just standing up and singing in front of a group of people? I mean, assuming you could sing, I guess, but
I don't sing. I don't sing, but I think just what's different, a lot of people ask me is being in a play, like doing your job every day, and it's 100% different. Because when you're in studio, when I'm anchoring the news, it's just me and a couple other people and some cameras. And our cameras are now robotic, so that even takes less people in there. And so you know people are watching, but it doesn't really necessarily feel like that, where when you're on stage, you know people are watching, and you feed off of that.
Yeah, you feel that energy.
And so it's very different. And it's a different kind of excitement on both levels of it, but it is different for sure. So, but
is that like I'm going to use the word balance. Beth doesn't like
we
the
had
word
this
balance.
conversation about why I don't like this word.
Okay.
Well, we'll explain.
Yeah, we don't have to explain. It's fine. So how do you balance that between like, obviously, I'm sure you're good enough where people want you to like act all the time and always be in plays and things like that. How do you balance your time with a busy schedule? Like, those are crazy. Two things that are extremely busy.
So I'm fortunate enough with my job that not a lot of other people in this industry are, where I work a fairly normal shift. I'm not working evenings like a lot of people do. I'm not working overnights to anchor the morning news. I have a nice 9 to 6-ish schedule, which is kind of unheard of. And I'm very fortunate for that. It took me a little while to get there. I sure worked nights and weekends for a couple of years. And once I've gotten to this good schedule, let me tell you, it would be hard to give it up.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. So I'm very lucky in that regard, where I am able to do things like theater. So, I mean, I kind of decide when I'm going to try out for a play. It doesn't mean I'm even going to get in it, but it does take some balance. And I think with theater, though, it's a 6 to 8 week commitment, so it's not forever, and you can get through that 6 to 8 weeks knowing that it's not going to be permanent. But those weeks do get crazy. My roommate, she always knew I did theater, but until we lived together, she was like, "You're never home. This is a huge time commitment," and it is. But it's fun. I wouldn't do it if it wasn't fun. I would never do it if it wasn't fun. If it started to feel like a second job, I wouldn't do it.
I don't feel like you should do anything that's like not fun at some point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
There can
not worth it.
be moments that aren't very fun, but
which there
in
always
general,
is. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, but in general, if it's not fun, if you're not on fire with what you do, don't do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a deeper. Like, what would you say is like one of your like biggest passions? Like, what about the journalism or the theater or the audience thing like really gets you going?
Yeah, I think with journalism, it's being able to tell the stories, whether I'm writing them or speaking them, and you tell the stories that are important to people. And not every day, though. I mean, there are days when you're telling stories you don't want to tell, and you're doing things you don't necessarily want to do. But then, a week later, you'll be able to put this really cool piece together that really makes someone smile or brightens their day or brings awareness to an important cause. The theater for me it's the same type of thing. But it's more fun, I guess. It's more. There's no bigger rush in the world than that, I think, and it's a stress reliever too, because for those 2 or 3 hours every night, that's where your focus is, and you cannot be thinking about anything else, even if you wanted to. So I think that's a big stress reliever too.
Yeah, that you're focused on the one thing.
The one thing,
sure.
and you
that
have
makes
to.
Sense. Yeah.
And I was like, stress reliever, that would be causing me some stress.
Right,
for
exactly.
sure.
The moment you're on stage in front of an audience, something in your head just clicks, and that's all you're doing.
I totally get that.
And everything else just disappears.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a huge draw for a lot of people, myself included. I don't know if that's good or bad. I think it's a positive way to channel some stress. So
Yeah. Well, and I think they like show up in like different ways because, like my daughter has been doing musicals and theater and stuff in school. She's middle school. And like at first, like I'll be real, and sorry, Malia, in advance, but I was like, are you sure that you're not just like obsessed with the idea of being on stage and doing these things? Like I just, there was parts that I'm like, I mean, she's outgoing and creative and all of those things, I'm like, I just did not see her coming out on stage as this like person, but she totally does.
Yeah.
You know, in a different way. Like there was a time last year in a musical that I was like, oh, I literally had to like scan a couple times, but it was like a whole new person that like ignited on this stage. I'm like, is that my child?
That's fun though.
You know, and it's just cool to see. I think that happens with a lot of people, especially in middle school. I think when you're or high school, you're trying to find yourself,
Yes.
and somehow that allows you to be somebody that you aren't allowing yourself to be normally.
And now a quick break for your ears if you're watching and your eyes if you're... Wait, did I get that right? Here's some music. And now, back to the episode.
While you're also pretending to be somebody else,
Yes.
and that can make you more comfortable being in front of a crowd. I am much more comfortable being someone else in front of a crowd than I
Yeah.
am being myself. I can tell you that much. So,
It's crazy.
What story pops into your head that's like the most fun story you've
Most
ever
fun
told?
story.
Yeah, in a news sense.
so fun. Okay, I have a couple.
which isn't often.
No, fun. So I can't believe my work let me do this, but this past summer, there was a very serious story about a potential shortage of White Claw. And I'm known as
gosh.
the White Claw expert. And
Is that a cat thing?
no, it's a
kidding.
seltzer.
Seltzer drink.
Okay, I was going to say, you don't know what White Claw is?
Yeah, she knows.
So they let me investigate the shortage and go
I
around.
mean, that's a big deal, though.
It was. And I went around to all the different liquor stores and found out where you could get it in Rochester and where you couldn't. And it was
awesome.
It was hilarious. I mean, it was funny. And,
Yeah,
you
that
know,
is
it was
funny.
funny. And I'm grateful that they let me do it. And we're real people, too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, absolutely.
I think
That's
a
exactly
good
the
way
We
to
all
show
like White
that.
Claw.
Yes.
Who doesn't?
Those
Yeah.
things are dangerous.
Oh, yeah. Because you don't
They're,
know what's
they're
hitting
too
you.
much like just your average
Just like a
fruity,
seltzer water.
carbonated, Yeah.
They go down fast. Yep. So that was very fun. That was a really fun story.
So
to
did
do.
you bring that to them?
I
or?
did. I remember texting my boss and I'm like, okay, you can tell me no, but I really want to do this story tomorrow. And she's like, I love it. So
That's so awesome.
it was fun.
So what was the shortage problem? What
So
was the source?
they
People drink
couldn't
too
keep up
much.
with their demand
Seriously?
this past summer like skyrocketed.
That's
and they
really
weren't
what it was.
expecting it to. And so it took them a little while to catch up. And in that time when they were playing catch up, I think it was August, September, somewhere in there was a shortage and some stores couldn't keep it in stock. Luckily, we've moved past that, and we don't
That
have to worry
White Claw
about the White
wasted
Claw
meme
shortage
that just
anymore.
got out of control, I
Yes,
think.
Yes. So that was a fun one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that.
No one probably
Right.
was. Yeah. I remember
good.
showing my mom the story, and she's like, I can't believe they let you do that. But I think it's a good way to show that we're people too.
Yeah, yeah,
and
absolutely.
It's fun
I-
and
there needs to be more of that. in my
it's
opinion.
consumer and people did care about the White Claw shortage. So, you know,
I mean, like, is it written somewhere that everything has to be dramatic and sad drama? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's an expectation sometimes on the news that's like you're only reporting like the hard
Yes.
stuff. But at the end of the day, like that's still a story that people care about. That's why it worked. So,
right. And I think there is a place for it. It's a balance to find because
I mean, not
we
everyone
do
cares
want
about White Claw, but
no, but I do think that there is a place for news like that,
Right.
And happy, uplifting stories as well. That I don't know that some of my colleagues will agree, but I like the happy, uplifting stories. I think we all do, but it's just finding a way to incorporate them into a newscast because, of course, we do want to be focused on the serious stories that matter to the community first.
right.
But sometimes the stories that matter to people are the ones like maybe not White Claw, but some of the personal stories and things like that.
Yeah, and I think, representing the community in light of other things, I definitely agree that, the super personal stories are one thing, but like interweaving it with other things. They did a story on Clifford the dog, like visiting the hospital, like in all these levels, and they had different families that you interviewed, and I loved just like, I'm not in the Mayo Clinic. I have no like reference or touch points there, but I'm like, wow, the Mayo Clinic really does a lot of stuff, and a lot of community stuff is involved with
that, and that's how we project our city to all these people
Right.
as well, because they were from all over the place.
And to showcase that
Yeah.
is, I think, an
It's a
important
good
part
reminder.
of our job.
For sure. I love
Absolutely.
that story. And my dad was Clifford.
Oh, really? I
So-
remember we had
really?
we had somebody there. I remember
Okay.
that story quite well, actually.
Yeah. Huh. Wow.
I didn't know for a while either.
That's funny. I love that.
That is funny. What's like the hardest thing that you've had to do? That you like said, do I have to do this? Like maybe you didn't actually go to your boss, but
Yeah. It doesn't even take me a second to think of it.
Yeah.
I was quite new, a few months into the reporting job, and there was a Navy SEAL from North Iowa, young guy who was killed, John Tummelson, and they told me go knock on his family's door because that's what it's what we do. It is,
Sure.
and that's what we need to do. But that was tough, and some of his family members, they were very nice to me. I will always be grateful to that. I think there's a certain way you have to approach those stories, though, because you are approaching people on the worst day of their lives,
Yeah.
the worst moments of their lives, and you go into it knowing you're doing your job, but you're still a person, and that is not always easy. And I think that's something that a lot of journalists struggle with, is finding that balance between doing your job and still being a person.
Yeah.
But I think if you can find that, then that makes you better at your job.
Yeah.
And in those situations, when
Yeah.
you do have to do those tough things, if you can look at it from a personal point,
Yeah.
you're going to approach those people in a way where maybe they're made feel much more comfortable
Sure.
in what has to be
Compassionate.
That's the word that I was
Rather-
thinking of too. Totally.
and that's one thing that I think is very important.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's, a fire and somebody lost their everything that they owned,
Mm-hmm.
or a murder and you're knocking on, their door.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many tough situations that journalists get put in. And we have to do that, and we have to tell those stories.
Mm-hmm.
And the best way to tell a story is through the people who are impacted by the story.
Right.
Unfortunately, sometimes that means asking people very personal questions in a very tough time, and people react very differently. There are some that embrace that, and there are some that do not. So
Right.
it can be challenging.
Yeah. Wow.
I would hate to walk into those situations. But I do think that, you talk about compassion, but also the lens,
Yeah.
I can't recall the exact words of this quote, but it essentially is like, looking at through somebody else's lens can tell you a lot about how to communicate with them.
Yes.
And, trying to put yourself, in their shoes, for lack of a better term, what would I be okay with right now?
Right.
Because at the end of the day, I think a lot of people do understand that that's your job, unless
do.
you're trying to be pushy or what have you.
Right. And in that moment, they might not understand it, especially if they're just going through something terrible. But I think in hindsight, they do. And so you just have to remember that. But for any journalist, especially right out of college, young, I am a compassionate person. I think I feel other people's pain more than I should sometimes. So that
Yeah.
was hard for me, knowing I can still picture the house. I can still picture every moment from that day. And it turned out fine. It turned out okay. His family eventually became very, open about it. But that was definitely one of the more difficult things that I've done at work, for sure.
That would definitely be hard. What kind of things did you come across, like coming into a media industry? I feel like there's a lot of males out there in the media industry. Did you come up against any barriers or situations where you feel like you kind of had to prove yourself?
Not as much on this level, which I'm grateful for. I know there's a lot of that goes on higher levels.
Sure.
I mean, there was just the recent movie Bombshell, which I think exposes quite a bit of things that go
I haven't
on.
seen this yet.
I haven't seen it either, and I'm mad at myself for not seeing
All
it.
right, we'll make a list of this.
I've heard it's great. So that stuff does go on, but I think just being a woman in this business, you are in the public eye, and you're opening yourself up to all sorts of things, whether that's criticism or just weird stuff. It's a different thing to get used to be in that kind of a role, for sure.
Do you feel like you decided that you were going to be open to this, or maybe did not have a full clue of what all that entailed?
No, I knew, and I think I was really excited about it initially.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
Embracing the weird stuff.
Yeah.
Right? That's
you're like, oh, it's so fun to be recognized at the store. And it is nice. And don't get me wrong. It's very nice when people, and most people are very, very nice.
Right,
but
right.
there are always the weird things, and there's always people who don't, I think, realize. One thing we get a lot is, oh my gosh, you're so much prettier in person. And you're like,
is that a compliment?
Well, thanks, but what do I look like on
Right.
TV?
Yeah.
And people mean well. They really do. But it's just funny how that sometimes comes out. And so, yeah, it's a weird business sometimes.
For sure. Do people like come up to you and talk to you like you should know them?
Sometimes. Yeah. But
I feel like they're like, you look right at me.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Totally.
Like, yeah.
Right.
Totally. No, and that's fine. And I enjoy talking with people.
Sure.
It's just a weird thing to get used to that.
Yeah.
And to just be out at a restaurant and have somebody come up. It takes a while to get used to that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'd say 98% of the people I've encountered have been nothing but nice. So
Any
I'm
fun
grateful.
2% stories? Or no? Different day.
I mean, it's just those comments like, oh, those lights really do a number on you, don't they? Or
People say that.
I just
Oh,
can't
yes.
believe
oh
people.
yes, people will say anything,
Oh,
and
Do they say it to just get a rise? Do they say
I
it because
think
they just
they're
don't
being
understand?
genuine
Okay.
sometimes. I
Yeah.
don't think that people mean. I think they're trying to compliment you, and to some degree.
It's
But-
like their expectations that are like messed up though.
right, and
Yeah.
people, and it most of the time, I think it's just genuinely just they're meaning to compliment you, and sometimes
Backhandedly.
it comes off, but. But they mean well, I
Yeah.
think, or at least I choose to believe they mean well. So
You can believe whatever you
Probably,
want.
yeah.
I think that makes it
It's
easier
intent.
to, yeah.
It's intent.
Yeah,
What's
and
the intent?
social media has made everybody so accessible that
So true.
yes, so that's
And I think it
interesting.
reduces the barriers, don't you think? I mean, people think because they can reach you on social media that everything's fair game.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I would agree with that for sure.
So what kind of boundaries like do you set up to
Yeah.
try to mitigate that?
I was really bad at it at first, and I would just accept anybody's friend request. I've had to, just for my own privacy and honestly safety, I think, kind of push back a little bit on that. So I have a professional Facebook page. It took me way too long to do that. I should have done that years ago.
Right.
But that's a great way to connect with people that I may not know in person that still want to send me a message or stuff, but I can still keep that part of my life private to some degree too, which is important to me. It wasn't always, but it is now, I think. And just for safety reasons, honestly, there's something you
For
have
sure.
to be concerned about.
Yeah,
any
absolutely.
woman, any person does, but more
Right.
so if you're putting yourself out there in the way that my
Yeah.
job does, I guess.
Well, and I think, social media is, a tool, and we've talked about this before, but it can be used in the incorrect manner. But we do have boundaries that we can set, and then we choose what to put out there or whatever, and how to answer people or whatever. But other people can still choose to use it for the wrong reasons. So
Absolutely.
it's necessary to have some of those boundaries.
But we can choose to be offended or not.
That's also true.
That
And you
is
have
our
to make that
choice.
choice
Right.
not to be
Exactly.
in
Yeah.
certain situations.
Like you just I'm not going to waste time on you.
No.
So yeah.
and most
Wish
of the time
more
it's
people
not
did
worth it.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a good lesson for people to learn is social media has
Yeah.
its bad sides, but it is a great tool as well. So
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that there's so many great things that can come out of it, but I do think you have to, choose how you use it and what you open yourself up to. I mean, you chose to be a journalist.
Yes.
I mean, that does open you up to
Absolutely.
certain things just by nature, but
yeah.
And now, a quick break for you to think about all the things you love in life, like Skittles. I love Skittles. And now, back to the episode.
What surprises? Like you were prepared, you said you were ready. What
Yeah.
surprises have you had though? Like, oh, I didn't expect that, or I didn't expect this.
Oh gosh, that's a tough one. I don't know that there was anything for me that was
Really?
super unexpected. I think I kind of knew to some degree what I was getting into.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it hasn't been bad at all. It's been different and
learning.
Yeah,
That's
like
pretty good because
Yeah.
most things you go into, you have surprises.
and you're like, oh, I didn't know.
Like,
So that's one
yeah.
thing. My college, I can tell you, there are plenty of journalists that think it's going to be way more glamorous than it is.
Sure.
Luckily, I did not have that problem. I knew exactly what I was getting myself into because it's not glamorous and people think it is. I still have friends of mine that think I'm rich and have my hair and makeup done every day. None of the above is true.
Well, you have
I
your
do
hair
my
and makeup, right?
done,
Exactly.
But,
yes.
But I fund it myself and I spend time.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just things like that. And I didn't come into it with any misconceptions about it. I do think a lot of people do, depending on where you go to school. There are people that think that I just come in and read the news, but I do not. I am either reporting or producing all day long before I sit down to anchor for an hour. So the anchoring part that everyone sees is really just a very small part of my whole day.
Right.
And so I think that is a misconception as well, that I come in for 2 hours and I'm done. Because, no. The days are very busy.
Yeah.
Very, very busy.
The prep is what takes so long.
Yeah.
Totally.
I mean, to accurately report, I mean, this is live or going to be all over the place. I mean, that's, I think, a perception that people have, is like that sit down, but the expectation is totally different.
Right.
And I think it sounds like you managed expectations pretty well going into it, because I don't think most, especially college students in general, but especially in a journalism field, do you think your school helped with that? It sounds like they have a good funnel program.
They do. I mean, they gave us a really realistic view of what it was going to be like the one thing I did have to learn the hard way was that you cannot wear heels to the farm. I remember my first time, I didn't even know what a farm entailed. I had no idea. I was a city girl reporting at a pig farm in North Iowa.
Love it.
And I just have my heels on and I'm carrying all my stuff. And those heels were ruined. So now I have my flowered mud boots.
But
they have flowers on them.
There you go.
Because they have to be cute still.
Yeah.
So.
That would totally be something I would have done.
Oh, yeah.
There was cornfields around the city.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you
don't
drive by them.
Right.
Maybe a party or two in them.
Right.
But other than that, I'm I had no idea.
Party or two in them.
I mean,
That's like a whole different podcast, I think, right? We should maybe talk about
there's
that on
so
a
many
different...
things we should not talk about, and that's probably one of them.
It's definitely
But no, I think it's a different culture. Even in the suburbs of a city versus Rochester. I mean, do you feel like you had to start over? What does that look like when you're not from this area? I feel like this is the biggest small town. People have so many pre-existing ties.
And I've been lucky I feel like I've transitioned really well. I was able to get involved in the theater community very easily, very quickly. And that was...
You think that was a key?
I think so.
Role?
It's been a great experience. I've made some very, very close friends through the theater already, just in my less than a year in Rochester. And before, so even in Albert Lee, that my involvement in the Albert Lee community is what theater is what really made me feel a part of that community. So I think just getting involved with things and finding where you feel like you fit in is so important when you're in a new place. So
for sure, I think that's huge.
In the shelters, talk about that a little bit. I think you kind of lit up a little bit about the animals. So when you help at shelters, what does that look like? What do you do?
I've done all kinds of things. A lot of it is I do a lot of, I haven't for a while actually, and I should get back into it, is a lot of just transporting animals for different organizations. So let's say there's animals in Rochester that need to get to their foster homes in the cities. I've done a lot of driving, and sometimes that has meant a literal van full of 12 dogs in kennels. I like to drive, and that's something that my time allowed me to do, and without having to commit, I am very busy, so it is hard. So that's one thing that I've done a lot of. We do a pet of the week segment. We try to get the word out. Do you
just want to take that pet home often?
Oh, every week.
Yeah. I saw a post on Facebook and I was like,
it's so hard not to.
I want that dog, but I don't want that dog.
Yeah, for sure the dog ones. I don't know about a crow, but the dog ones get me every time.
Yes.
I just have to turn my head the other way. I have a friend that's even worse than I am about that, and she literally would, if she was allowed, take every single one home.
That's where I would be. And I've had to learn that I cannot do that. My landlord does not want me to do that.
So where did this huge love for animals come from living in the city? I guarantee you that wasn't as accessible.
So, not from my mom. I love her. She does not love animals the way I do. She tries to support me in it. She does.
Bless her.
No, my dad, my whole life, he was kind of the animal whisperer, and he would the same thing. He would come across these injured animals. So like growing up, I was around that and I saw that. And really that whole side of my family is kind of like that. And I think animals are just drawn to people that they know will help them.
I would agree with that.
Totally. Absolutely.
So I was around that, and it just definitely, it was never even something that I thought was weird. I just thought it was normal to do these things. And it wasn't until other people started saying, did you really pull a skunk's head out of a chain link fence and put it in your car? And I did that, and it was
Sure
fine.
did.
The skunk did not spray me at all.
Because he knew you were there to help.
Honestly,
right?
It's got to be.
I mean,
yeah.
Who else would not get sprayed by a skunk?
Right.
I
and
would
it was
walk
a
by that and
young
get sprayed.
skunk, and
We could probably go out back and find a skunk if you want to test
like a
that
wrangler.
theory
let's
again.
try it.
Let's do it.
Let's try it. That sounds like a great idea. Great idea. No, so I think it was just always kind of part of my life, and it's still, it
They're
always will
hibernating
be.
right now, by the way.
The skunks,
wintertime.
yeah. They are. Do skunks hibernate?
I'm pretty sure they do.
I was asked
I-
these
you
questions the
fact-check
other day
me
by
on
my
that,
5-year-old, and I was like, other than bears, I have no idea who
Yeah,
else
no, I'm
hibernates.
pretty sure that skunks hibernate. We should look, but
That sounds
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think you're right. We'll
Yeah.
go with that.
So what kind of like struggles have you come across? Like it sounds like you've got a lot of things that worked out
Yeah,
the way
exactly.
that you wanted to, but
Yeah.
there's got to be some adversity or some, barriers that you
Sure.
came up across that just were not part of your plan or
Oh,
how
absolutely.
you thought it would go.
Well, when your dad dies when you're 17,
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the first thing. And I think that's just like the thing that happened to me that will forever shape my life.
Yeah.
It's a hard age too, like
Yes.
terribly hard.
Yes, it was. And I think even now looking back at it, it'll be 15 years this coming May since he died.
Wow.
And that's crazy to think that like half of my life he hasn't been, hasn't been here. And so he got sick when I was just turned 17. He had lung cancer. And he was a healthy guy up until that. So it was quite unexpected. And then it was just pretty fast, 5 months. And so that's a difficult thing for anyone.
Yeah.
And especially when you're 17.
Yeah, that's hard.
Life is crazy anyways. And then that's just like your whole world is just forever different. And it is forever different.
And I think you can take that experience and that compassion then, and when you have to go knock on those doors,
Yes.
yeah, they can feel that.
I think so.
Totally.
I think so for sure, because once you have been through something like that, and everyone has something that they've been through, I think, in some degree, some more so than others, maybe, but for me, that was probably the biggest thing that has just always shaped my life and probably always will. Not, obviously, I wish it had never happened, but I think there have been good things that have come from it, and very close with his family, like his side of the family and the other side, but, and so, yeah, that's something that has
Do you
been
think
tough.
it changed anything that you had planned for your life? I mean, other than your things that involve your dad,
Yeah.
for sure. But did your mindset change in terms of your direction and what you were going to do?
I mean, if you had asked me when I was 15, 16, 17, I was going to go to New York. I was going to go to LA. I was going to be in a big city. But I think after that, there was just part of me that didn't want to be that far away from my family.
Yeah.
And it's taken me a while to admit that.
Yeah.
But anytime I had an opportunity to maybe go a little farther away, I always found reasons not to. And I don't regret that at all, because I'm very happy with where I've ended up and where I'm at. And I am extremely happy, especially as my grandparents do get older. They've had some health issues lately, and I'm so grateful to be close enough where I can go see them
Sure.
and I can help them
Yeah.
when they do need help. And so that's been important to me, and that's just been something that I haven't been able to get past. And the idea of living further away from them and even from my mom is just not something that I want to do. And I don't have to do it, so why do it?
Yeah. I
That
totally.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think too that when you're that age anyway, you have all these dreams and aspirations
Yeah.
and plans that very small things will change that course, let alone big things.
Right.
Yes.
Those
100%.
big things will definitely change that course.
Yeah. And
I
it
still don't know
did.
what I want to do.
You got time. You're good. You're good.
I am doing what I want to do. I shouldn't say
There you go.
that, but
That's all
You
that
get,
matters.
you get places like different ways. Because I had the same thing, and this must be a cities thing that you're like, I need a bigger city.
Right.
You know?
I think it is. Yeah.
But you have this, perception of life being a certain way, and, same thing with things changing that I'm like, I don't know, maybe that's not where I needed to be, or
100%.
you know, what have you.
When I was when I graduated from high school, several of my teachers had told me what a great school St. Cloud State was. I didn't want to hear it.
But
that
it's
was
still
a
in
state
Minnesota.
school where every one of like my friends who didn't know what they wanted to do were going.
Yeah.
I needed to go somewhere a little further away, so I actually originally went to the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. It was also has a good journalism program, and it was a little more, in my mind, prestigious than St. Cloud State was. I lasted 2 weeks there, and I missed my dog so much that I quit school and I came home. And my mom thought it was because of my boyfriend at the time, and it had absolutely nothing to do with him. It was all about Boo, and I could not be away from that dog. So I came home, and my mom wouldn't speak to me for several months. And it's okay. It's fine.
Yeah.
She had to learn that I was doing what was best for me, and I knew. And then I just took a couple months off, and then I started at St. Cloud in the next semester, and it was like, that was where I was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And it was a scary time because I was, in a million years, being an overachiever, never saw myself just quitting my first semester of school. But I did, and it all worked out well.
And life was fine. I think that's like the horrible perception that's out there, because I felt like you are committed forever to this one path, whatever it is you choose, you know? So you're like, of course I'm going to choose LA or New York because that's the cool place.
Right.
But I changed. I'm not even going to get into that story, but multiple times you're like, here's my major or school or what have you, because I just couldn't figure out what that place was. And I would kick myself because I felt like, okay, well, now my story's messed up.
Right.
Because I went to more than one school.
100%. I was totally like that too. I thought it was like all or nothing. And then if one little thing went wrong in my life, the world was ending. And now I have a whole different mindset on that because lots of things have gone wrong. And that's okay. That's life.
Yeah, it is life.
But like, what would you do if everything went right? I mean, like,
it'd be boring, right?
You wouldn't ever have to try.
They make movies out
new.
of that stuff, right? Like,
it's not reality.
It is
and
not.
I think that those are the things that eventually make you who you are. And if you know in your gut that you're doing the right thing, it might not seem right to everyone else or feel right at the moment, but you do know, I think. So
have to have those opportunities to make those choices.
Yes,
you know?
absolutely.
For sure. I love that.
You do things in the community too.
Yeah.
So we're going to invite you out March 5th.
Okay.
The castle.
Okay, yes.
You want to come?
Yeah.
It's in the evening.
there.
Who wouldn't want to go to a castle?
Yeah.
Well, it's the castle.
The castle's really cool.
Right.
Yeah.
I enjoy the castle.
Yeah. So, you know, like you can hang out with us. We're going to do a live podcast.
Very
live
cool.
audience.
Live audience.
You're rubbing off
like
on
this.
me.
Sorry. I messed it up the first time and now it's ruined.
But that is different, though.
Yes.
Live audience.
Live audience is
So,
different than live, though.
Live
so
audience.
she's right. Yeah,
live audience. Yeah. So the people are going to hopefully be alive. Well, I mean, they will be, right? But it's we won't bore them to death, right?
No.
So Bucky Beeman's going to be there, and he's going to be our like featured guest.
I know Bucky. We've interviewed Bucky.
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're bringing the table.
Okay.
So,
the whole setup's going?
So you'll be like comfortable already with like, I know that table.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I said it's like the orange couch from Friends.
It is.
Right?
It
like
is.
Everyone
I think it
sees
does.
it and knows. That's
Makes you
what
feel
we're going to make it.
comfortable.
Yeah.
Very cool. That'll be fun.
Good.
Well, we appreciate you being out here and sharing your story. I love just how compassionate you are. I feel like it shows in like everything that you talk about. And I think that's a lost art in most people these days to truly have that like empathy built in.
Oh, thank you. That's one thing that I do take pride in. So thank you for noticing that.
Yes, absolutely.
Thanks for being open to like sharing you too, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't do that on a normal basis.
No, I don't. And it is weird.
So it's fun. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
I'm sure everybody's loving it.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll see.
And the cat ears.
I can't believe I don't have the cat ears.
Oh my gosh.
I owe you big time.
I'm not going to sleep well tonight because I'm going to be crying. About
you have to look into the camera so they can do like, you know, the Snapchat filter thing or whatever.
I even double checked my bag like 3 times today. They're in my car, so.
Yeah, all right. Well, maybe you can grab them. We can, do some promo shots.
I think we can do that. I think we can do that. Yes.
All right. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah. Wow, that was a really fun, entertaining conversation, wasn't it?
She is just genuine and out there as a person in ways that I find uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I would not be up on a stage in a play. I would forget lines like crazy.
Did it make you uncomfortable when I put the cat ears on?
It makes everyone uncomfortable when you put the cat ears on.
Hopefully people then that were listening will actually go over to YouTube and watch
please go check the video out.
Yeah, so that was fun. What I like about what she does too is she's really involved in the community and things like that.
Right.
And that's so important. You can be kind of a local celebrity and not be out in the communities and doing things, and that to me is really reclusive, and that doesn't feel as genuine to me.
Right.
So I really like that about her. I really like that she's that involved, that she is, she donates her time to the shelters and things like that. So.
Well, and I think that it's like using your platform for a good cause. Like, it's like when you're popular in high school, like do something with it, just don't walk around with your trophy. So I love that.
The next episode's pretty amazing too. Nick is coming up, so
it'll be
people
so
are going to want to tune in for that. But for now, let's wrap it up. Tell them where they can find us.
Well, you got to make sure to subscribe anywhere you're listening, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, anywhere. Hit the subscribe. So simple.
Share it.
If you like us, share us with your friends. We all love to chat together.
If you don't like us, share us with your friends.
I'm sure you guys can have something to talk about then.
Right, exactly. See you next time.